All right. Good morning and good evening. Good morning to Stephanie and good evening to Kriti. Thank you so much, guys, for coming over. Let me introduce both of you first. So, Stephanie, Stephanie Sarka, she's CEO of One Atelier, and she has a lot of experience as a person who has already worked in few startups like the goto.com. She has a very strong background on executive turn on executive and brand and internet and entrepreneurial experience. And she has a strong record of recruiting people and delivering outcomes based on leadership. And she has a vision to make her company, this company, as well extremely successful in the years to come. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for coming to this panel. Looking forward to speaking with you.
It's our pleasure.
Our next panelist is Kriti Baveja. She is a co-founder of a company called Mom's Joys. She's extremely passionate and an engineer by qualification, and she is a self-taught photographer. And before finding Mom's Joys, she was working in Accenture. Through Mom's Joys, she is trying to empower millions of women who go through pregnancy and to make them feel comfortable. She has also won numerous awards, and she also won the award called India's Hottest Young Entrepreneur Award 2017, and one more award called Women Economic in the Women Economic Forum for Iconic Women Creating a Better World for All. And we welcome our second speaker, Kriti Baveja. Thank you so much, Kriti, for coming over.
Thank you.
I'll keep this aside and I'll keep the conversations real and quick. I just make a page for making my notes. My first question goes to about your business and what's your why? Why are you doing what you're doing?
So we founded One Atelier to do two things. One is to bring the joy back to luxury, and also to create a sustainable luxury, or maybe more broadly, a almost fully sustainable, inherently sustainable fashion brand. And I can say unequivocally that we really are the only, not only natively custom, but inherently sustainable luxury brand.
Mm-hmm. So why sustainability is so important for you?
I mean, fashion is the second largest, most polluting industry in the world, only after oil and gas. When I learned that, I was in shock, because we all know that oil and gas is such a devastation in many ways, but who knew that fashion was? And there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of places where there's seepage in the supply chain with respect to sustainability, use of natural resources, and use of human resources. The most important place is the fact that most brands, I would say all brands, really produce to a forecast, which means they produce to stock. That inventory goes into warehouses, retail stores across the world, stock rooms. The only thing I can say about a forecast, and I've done many of them, is that they're always wrong. We know that as a fact. And because of that, people start taking small moves to make sure that they at least don't stock out. So they end up with even more surplus. But the reality is that 50 to 60% of merchandise sent out into the wild is sold. The other 40 to 50% comes back. On top of that, most of what is sold, half of what is sold at a discount. And what comes back, ultimately the brands have to do something with it. And without being coy, they either have to bury it or burn it. And there are a lot of cases that have been unearthed about this happening by major luxury brands. Our model is completely different. We produce to order. Everything is handcrafted based on an order in hand. It's actually a very scalable business model. Think about luxury cars and the fact that there's a model, and then you and I might choose differently for our upholstery, our hubcaps, or even the paint color, but ultimately it's the same model. So at scale, this business actually is incredibly cost efficient, even though each piece is one of a kind. And I can tell you that we have never made the same back twice.
Wow, super, wonderful. So apart from handbags, do you make anything else?
We've built an infrastructure, a platform that will extend very nicely into other categories. So both our technology, which is completely proprietary to do the customization online, and furthermore, our production infrastructure, where we're really perfecting just-in-time supply of our raw materials and on-demand production. Both of those are transferable into other categories. So whether it's footwear, jewelry, I would never go into a fitted apparel because that just has so many complexities around the fit. But outerwear, small tabletop, you see a lot of companies doing furnishings. It's a business model that we're going to see more and more. I was just reading, actually, I think it was in the Vogue or maybe it was Business Fashion, cosmetics, personalized and made to order. And again, the same argument, because it's just a more sustainable proposition. You're not sitting on 6-week supply of any one item that's largely misforecasted with the hope that someone's going to buy it. So our business model both extends nicely for us to go into the other categories, and we have some software that we hope at some point that we can actually make available to other brands who want to do the same.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So, Stephanie, in your opinion, so the made-to-order business, now somebody would order, then you will make the product and ship it. It will require some time. What's your time to ship a product when it's ordered?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one of the many places where we've been transformative. You know, if you go to Hermes, or I was just trying to get a recliner for my father at Lazy Boy of all things the other day. And unless we bought the model off the floor, it was 6 months. I find that insane. Hermes, if you want to get something made to order, Louis Vuitton at their atelier, you're talking 6 to 8 months, as much time as a couch or a Lazy Boy recliner. We say that we will deliver within 21 days, and it's usually much shorter than that. It's usually within 10 to 14 days.
Wow. So how are you able to reduce this time so much? So we want your advice, which you can give to people who are in the made to order business. How do you cut the time down and keep the customer happy?
I mean, the most important decision we made on that regard is that we produce locally. So we are not dealing with moving materials, often in containers or otherwise across oceans. And then we're not dealing with moving the finished goods, in the other direction. So both from a carbon usage, all the various sustainability considerations, as well as just time and speed, we're dramatically faster. It comes at a small cost, but if you were to add up all the cost of shipping or airing things, if you can't take the time of having something go by boat, ultimately, I think we're actually probably equally, if not more cost effective than producing abroad. And we have full control over not only the quality, but the timetable and the production flow.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for the initial conversation and setting the content in the right direction. I will circle back to you. Thank you very much. Kriti, from engineering to working in IT companies to starting Mom's Joy, what's your why?
So basically, Mom's Joy was started by me and my childhood friend, Divya, and we were both working in corporate jobs, and both of us actually got thinking about Mom's Joy when we met an expectant friend of ours at a party, and she really wasn't able to find the right clothes to wear. And that is when we realized that she was very anxious and she was feeling very, underconfident, to be honest, where she felt that the right clothes are not available and she's pregnant. So that really gave her self-esteem a huge blow, and it really got us thinking in 2015 how pregnancy is so underrated, especially in India, and how much and how it really deserves so much more importance. So that is when the two of us decided that we will dedicate a step towards doing something about this. And we went ahead and actually surveyed and researched, and we found out that the two main reasons why expecting mothers are actually anxious while they're expecting is A, because of breastfeeding, and B, because of the way they look. So which was pretty shocking. And at the same time, they're not able to find the right clothes to wear. So clothes also associate with how you feel about yourself, right? And if you're not finding the right clothes, it's not such a great feeling. So we decided to take a step, and we left our jobs, and we decided to start Mom's Joy, which is an online maternity and nursing fashion brand, where we have a mission of creating comfortable yet functional and fashionable clothes. So we create products which fit during the 9 months and post the 9 months, and they are very easy to feed in. And that really helps in, we believe in like normalization of breastfeeding as well at the same time, where we think that mothers should feel comfortable. Of course, we're pro all feeding choices, but while they're breastfeeding, it should be normalized, right? So having comfortable clothes which are easy to feed in. And all our products are made in very soft and comfortable fabrics, which grow along with the changing size of the mother. Apart from that, we were very sure that we wanted to make a product which was completely made in India. So that is why we decided to actually manufacture ourselves, and we have an in-house manufacturing now. Initially, we started with 2 employees, and we got our samples ready, and now we have 25 employees. And it's been a great journey. And just like Stephanie said, that she also is someone who's following a model which is made to order. So on the back end, we too follow a made to order process. On the front end, on our website, we have products available in a particular pattern and style, and from sizes extra small to 5XL. But on the back end, when we receive the order, that is actually when we land up processing the entire order and creating it and ensuring that we're able to deliver it within 15 days, 7 to 15 days. And I think what's needed for that, the way Stephanie was also mentioning, is that, I believe like you have to have the right processes where you're able to integrate good technology practices, as well as having right automations set up, so that you can really ensure that the customer on the front end doesn't really feel that it is a made to order product, which will take a lot of time. But at the same time, since we're both in the business where we're going ahead with the made to order process, the idea is to, of course, like have a product which is sustainable, and we don't have any wastage of fabric, which is a big thing in this industry. Like Stephanie was saying, there are major retailers and players where they have tons and millions of tons of fabric which is wasted, which isn't great for the environment as well. So we believe in having zero fabric wastage as well at the same time. So it's great to learn that Stephanie's business model is very similar on those terms, and her thought process is similar to ours. Apart from that, we also believe in having equal opportunities in the workplace, where we have women who have been, so typically, just so that people get to know this, I'm sure people from all over the world might be watching, where in India you don't typically find pattern makers who are women, and they're typically men. So that is what has been happening traditionally. But being two women co-founders in Mom's Joy, we were sure that we will ensure that we are able to at least train women to become pattern makers. And there have been 2 employees and 2 women in our company who actually showed a lot of interest, and we let them, learn. And now today they're like they're one of the top pattern makers in our company. So yes, so that is the why. The why is basically to empower mothers, and in the end, to empower mothers and make them feel beautiful, confident, and happy, and at the same time empower women and men. I mean, empower employees at the back end to ensure that they're able to, they too are also empowered in the same way, where they can reach their maximum potential.
Wonderful.
So that is the why.
Wonderful, wonderful. Both of you have very strong whys. Both of them sustainable business, and both are made to order, and superb story and superb whys. Thank you so much, Kriti, for the initial setup and initial direction that you gave to this conversation. So, Kriti, one more thing I want to ask you is that so you have a co-founder, and then do you also have stores like offline stores, or do you only online?
We are delivering worldwide online.
Worldwide online only. There are no brick and mortar stores.
There are no brick and mortar stores currently.
Would you be planning brick and mortar stores in the future?
We can look at it, but to be honest, our direction has primarily been e-commerce, especially with the pandemic. Also, we've realized that going the e-commerce way is always something which is fruitful for our customers as well, especially since they're pregnant. They typically might not be able to come to the store, so it's something which has worked for us, and we think it's the future. So in India, e-commerce is still, it is there, of course, it is upcoming, but everyone started to use e-commerce. In the US, it's already pretty prevalent, where e-commerce has been a big boom. But definitely, e-commerce is the way to go, in our opinion. We do look forward to having our products in brick and mortar stores, and we have actually done that in the past. But considering how things change in the pandemic, etc., we've realized that our business model works best when we're selling online via our website.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So, Kriti, tell me how the numbers look like before COVID and after COVID. Is the business going up, down? How is it?
Yes, of course. So the business is actually going up. It because I think the business is going up because of a couple of reasons. One, people don't realize it, but clothes during pregnancy, because a woman's body is actually changing a couple of sizes. So finding the right clothes during pregnancy it's actually an essential item that is required. Something which is comfortable. Even doctors recommend wearing comfortable clothing during pregnancy. So and with the COVID lockdowns and the entire pandemic that it's still going on, but yeah, of course, with the lockdowns that we had, women, in fact, a lot of our customers, when we had also shut shop initially, but like a lot of our customers were like, can you please get our products delivered somehow? And then eventually we were able to come into the essentials category after due permissions, and we were able to deliver our products to them. So there was a definite need for these products, and the business is going in a good direction, in a positive direction.
Wonderful, wonderful. Glad to hear that. Thank you so much, Kriti, for that. So, Stephanie, you have a lot of experience in leadership. Give us two tips about leadership. How should co-founders and CEOs of D2C company lead their organizations? What should they
Yep,
take care of?
absolutely. I mean, there's two things that I do, and I have to say during the COVID, it was a whole redefinition of some of this. One is I have a working mantra, which I call TLR, trust, like, and respect. And all three have to be in place. So, I've been around the block, and I have zero time or tolerance for, bad behavior, let's just call it. So whether it's attitude and just behaving badly towards each other or the other employees or to me, whether it's some kind of lack of confidence in our ability to trust somebody, or an ability to respect somebody's work skills, talents. All three of those have to be in place for it to be a sound relationship. So we work hard to test on that. Test would be a inappropriate word, but because we're not putting tests out, but going on a lot of instinct conversations, in-depth conversations, referrals, to ensure that those three elements are in place coming in. So you could say on some level, we're powering people in the sort of thumbprint or fingerprint of the business value structure. And if any of those elements shift over time, then it certainly raises cause to maybe make a change. And we talk about these things within the organization. We're small enough that we can still have conversations about what our values are. And the second piece, what I've often said, and I try to live up to it, is the CEO's job is to point the way and clear the path. So point the way means making sure we all have a really clear understanding of what we're trying to accomplish and what each of our respective roles are in achieving that. And clearing the path means, to the extent possible, certainly as an earlier stage startup, making sure that people have the resources they need, have the clarity they need, have the communication mechanisms they need, and that they're not lacking in either materials or resources to get their job done. And if we can't afford some resources in particular that they need, at least we have an understanding of how we're going to work around that. I would say I trend towards micromanaging because I like having my hands in the muck, to be perfectly honest. So it's my constant challenge to make sure that I'm constantly, I can scope up and down very quickly. I can get to the big picture and I can find the period that's missing on a document. It's just my special sauce. So I have to work hard to make sure that I'm not doing that, because that disempowers people. As long as there is trust, then you need to leave people the opportunity to make sure that they know that I believe they can get the job done. And there's actually one related comment, which I don't think is a third, but kind of an enhancement. We are an organization that recognizes that mistakes will happen. And whether it's on the production front, whether it's in copywriting, wherever that might be, we don't condone it, but we also don't crucify people when it happens. We take it as a chance to say, what happened here? What can we learn from it? How are we going to prevent it from happening next time? If it's repeated 3, 4, 5 times, then we have a different conversation. But people need to feel like they're not going to be crucified for a mistake, for them to feel that they can take ownership and autonomy and leadership even.
Wonderful, wonderful. So those are some great tips, Stephanie. Thank you so much for that. So tell us a bit about your previous role in goto.com.
So I was at Coach actually prior to that, and was running a brand called Mark Cross, which has been relaunched, but it's a different set of owners. But Coach owned Mark Cross at the time, and it was an incredible business. Lou Frankfurt and that team there for the 7 years I was a coach really taught me everything I know about leadership, building brands, and running a multifaceted, vertically organized organization. So whether it was manufacturing, sourcing, marketing, selling, the whole bit. But as it was time for me to move to my next venture, I was very intrigued by what was happening in the internet space. This was quite a while ago now. This was in the late 90s. And I had the opportunity to meet Bill Gross at Idea Lab. And so, flash forward, I was a co-founder with 3 other people of goto.com, where we literally invented paid search. I still keep a piece of poster paper where we tried to knock out the business model. My name's on the patent for the business process patent for paid search. And had an incredible ride. We built the business to over $1 billion in revenue in 4 years. We took it public after the first year, which was insanity. We won a lawsuit against Disney in the process for trademark infringement. And we really created the most prolific industry in the ad tech space. We didn't become Google, and there's lots of reasons we could talk about that. We had conversations with them along the way, and they've done an incredible job with our business model. But we had a great ride as well.
Yes, not about it. Great, excellent experience, Stephanie. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Mm-hmm.
Kriti, tell us about so do you set goals for the organization?
Yes, of course.
So what are the 3-year, 5-year goals for Mom's Joy?
So our 3-year, 5-year goal actually for Mom's Joy is to ensure that we're able to make 1 million mothers happy through our products. B, we are looking at automating our processes further, and we're looking at incorporating better technology with our processes. And apart from that, we're also looking at, we have launched ancillary products like kids wear and baby products. So we're looking at expanding that further.
Wonderful. So Kriti, as the co-founder of Mom's Joy, where does your time go? Most of your time go?
So I always say like the co-founder or the CEO is like the chief everything officer. So of course, like both me and my co-founder's time goes into different activities that we have expertise in. So my co-founder would typically look at the operations side, I would look at the marketing side, and I would look at like the processes side and incorporating technology well with our business. But like I said, so my co-founders just delivered a baby boy. So right now I'm doing everything. So my time goes completely into doing all the tasks at hand. So yes, that's how I typically give my time to Mom's Joy.
Wonderful. Now you said you spend a lot of time in marketing. Now give us some marketing tips for D2C brands.
Right. So it's very important to remember who your target audience is. A lot of I've seen this a lot. Like a lot of brands who start up, they're not very clear with who they are targeting exactly. You need to know exactly where your customer. You have to have every information about the customer, all their behavioral attributes, what they like, what they don't like. It's like literally like you need to stalk your customers in a sense that you have an extremely clear idea, so that you're able to market them in the right manner, and whether it's Google ads or it's Facebook ads or any sort of marketing platform, you need to remember that. That would be definitely like the most important marketing tip that I can give anyone, because and remembering why you're doing your business at every step, and again incorporating the why into your marketing strategies is also another important aspect. Apart from that, understanding like what your budgets are and how you really want to go about with that financially. And apart from that, also, it's important to test. A lot of people forget that, and they feel that, okay, I've run this particular ad, or I've run this particular campaign, it's not really working. But remembering that testing is really important. So these three tips would be something that I can give businesses that are starting out and venturing into marketing. There's another tip actually. My fourth tip would be that you need to iteratively keep changing whatever you learn in your previous campaign, and iteratively change and start small. It's not necessary that you need to spend like $1,000 or whatever, like the X amount of money. You can start small and you can see what's working for you, and then definitely going ahead and taking it from there.
Wonderful. So, Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram ads, what is working best for you, and why do you think it's working for you?
Everything works decently well for us. It really depends from business to business what would work good for them. But it's something that every business would have to try, and it's a hit and trial initially. But remembering who you're targeting, very, very important.
Mhm. So, what's your ROAS, return on ad spend?
Yeah, I understand that, but it would depend. Like, it really depends on the sort of campaign that we're running.
Mhm. So generally, the speakers I've spoken to in the past, their ROAS is anywhere between 2x to 5x. If they're spending $100, they're able to get $200, $300 of
Yeah,
business.
it depends from campaign to campaign. In some campaigns, it would be on the lower range that you've said. In some campaigns, it might go up.
What do you do to improve your ROAS?
Again, like I said, you need to run like couple of ads and check out. Again, it's all about the targeting. Like I said, it's all about the targeting, understanding your customer and who you need to target and how you need to target. Like the answer for everything in marketing is once you catch that, like what's working for you. If it's Google AdWords, which keywords are working for you, you've beaten. I mean, you've won the game then,
Mhm.
and from there you can take your business from here to absolutely like up there.
How do you target expecting moms? I mean, they, let's say, because you
I mean,
would, yeah, you would not.
but that would depend from, like I said, targeting expecting moms. How would I target expecting moms? Like that really depends. Like we are targeting like young mothers, new mothers. So it would it would just be the way it is. I mean, yeah,
Mhm. Okay, all right. Are you guys funded or bootstrapped?
we're completely bootstrapped and sustainable. Yeah, we put
Okay.
in our own savings and we were now profitable and sustainable. So yes.
So should a D2C brand at this stage where they're sustainable, should they be looking at the VC money for going further? What do you say?
I think that's a personal I mean, it's a decision between the two co-founders, whether they want to actually go ahead and, raise the funds or not. And again, it depends on your business model, the scalability. It depends on multiple factors, what your vision is. And definitely, if you're, like I said, if you're cash rich and you're able to build your brand step by step, then you should think about it twice why you're raising the money. You should have a clear purpose in your head, of why you really want to why you really want to get funded. And once you're clear with that purpose, that you really need that money and it's not something that your business can generate, because I think we all need to remember that it's important that your business model and your business is sustainable. And a lot of times you will be, there are companies that do raise funds, and of course fairly rightly so, but a lot of times those funds actually land up making losses. And it is just like the thought process that the founders of the business who have actually started the business need to decide what their thought process is, what their principles are, and how they really want to grow their business and scale their business. It is not necessary to get funded. At the same time, it is not wrong to not get funded. But remembering that the idea is to make money is very important. Like your business should be economically viable and it should be sustainable. So doing the unit economics and understanding why you really need those funds is very, very important before actually going ahead and thinking, there are entrepreneurs who might think it's a cool thing to do, like, to raise funds. Honestly, I'm being very honest, right? But understanding why you really need the funds, and then from that clear purpose, actually taking it forward, is something that entrepreneurs should do.
Thank you very much, Kriti, for those lovely tips. Stephanie, coming the same question for you. I mean, you have had the full circle of starting a company, making billions of dollars in revenue, taking the company public, and now starting your next venture. What's your take on funding and investments in VCs?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely, outside funding provides speed to market and speed for growth. And we definitely experienced that at GoTo and in a couple other situations I've been involved with. I personally find it challenging to have the VC folks on my back, because unless they're people who really understand the industry and the opportunity, you're going to spend a lot of time explaining things to them that are basically job description. So we've protected ourselves from that so far, but that will change in a little while, and I'll tell you why or how. The investors are myself and two other close-in investors who I know well from previous business engagements, and who add real value. They understand the opportunity, who I can be very vulnerable with, ask questions. And so it's really it's like dating, right? It's a great relationship. And I don't feel like I'm spending all my time explaining how you make a handbag. I would like us to grow faster now. And so we are going to be talking to investors, but there are three things that will be important for me. It's still dating, and they have to be people, I'm choosing them as much as they're choosing me. And to be frank, we have an extraordinary opportunity, and they'll be darn lucky to be a part of it. And we take that stance. It really has to go back to TL, trust, like, and respect. Secondly, we're trying to think about it as, because right now we actually are almost exclusively working on earned media. So most of our traffic is coming in unpaid. That was just a choice we made. So this goes back to growth. Part of the funds would be for just growth, now that we're better understanding the right places to get our client. For example, Facebook is a debacle for us, so we just avoid it. And helping at this point become much more expedient in our customer acquisition. But thirdly, funding allows us to try other channels, to run tests on other channels to further grow our business. So whether it's our stylist channel or doing some prototyping on some software that we've seen use a SaaS model. So I take the mindset that it not only helps us grow bigger, faster for the current business, but it gives us the opportunity to explore and test and build some working prototypes for the future of our business as well.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Excellent. So Stephanie, tell us about this. You spoke about your investors, and so you're now going to be raising more funds, you said. And how do you, some of my clients, for example, who have raised funds, their primary job becomes raising funds, and it's a full-time job, and then managing the expectation of the investors. I mean, everybody's on calls, do this, do that, and you become an employee eventually and don't remain a co-founder anymore. So how do you balance that out? I mean, because it's a full-time job to raise funds. And so where are you spending your time, and how much time does it require to raise funds for D2C?
Yep. I mean, to be honest, I brought in a couple of folks that I thought were really going to take a lot off my back. And the last few months were not as streamlined as I hoped, let's just say, in terms of, my getting out of some of the real day-to-day. So it's something that's on my mind all the time. And I literally have to just block out days where I don't come in. I shut the phone, I close the computer, and I just work on, whatever the issue at hand is, the projections or the outreach, or the conversations that we're having. And I'm trying not to make it 100%, because at the end of the day, we're small enough where I still need to have a presence here, but try to contain it so that, I'm working with the team in the morning, whether it's physically as I am today or remotely, and then blocking out 8 hours or 10 hours where I can just work exclusively. I'm one of these people who doesn't work very well in snatches. So I end up wasting time if I have 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. I try to have a list of things that if I have 15 minutes, I can do, just so I'm not thinking, okay, what do I do with this 15 minutes? because, you know, you can blow hours and hours when you have snatches of 15 minutes around meetings. But really, for me, I need to be fully immersed. So I really block out windows where I can be exclusively dedicated to whatever the issue is. And in this case, it's fundraising.
Okay, wonderful, excellent. So Stephanie, tell us from your experience, how do you convert your customers into your fans? So customers are somebody who come and go. Then the second step is client, where clients start staying a little longer with you. And fans are love you. Fans are the ones who love you. So customer become clients, clients become your fans. So how do you make your customer into your fans?
That's all that we are about. A couple of statistics, we basically have no returns, which is shocking, right? Because in the luxury industry, 15, 20, 25% returns are standard. And why is that? Because the client has invested so much of themselves. That's the whole point and beauty of our business, is that I have a 7-year-old, and when you see her creating and crafting, and the self-manifestation that provides, the confidence that provides, the joy that provides, it doesn't go away when we're 20, 30, 40, 50. It just gets pushed to the back burner. So women love this experience of putting themselves into this vessel that we've provided. Sometimes we have to help them, sometimes we don't. We're setting up different mechanisms, both through technology and human support, to do that. But once they've received this literally piece of art in their hands, it's not going to be sent back. And we work really hard to make sure that if there's anything wrong, we'd rather fix it. We'd rather make the whole bag over again and get that bag back. So if it's a shoulder strap and they wish they had gotten the shorter shoulder strap, or they wish they had not gone so far with the exotic skins, whatever the case may be, we'll address it. And often it's a little fix that was well worth our while. In a few cases, it essentially meant, reassembling the entire piece, but we had an incredibly loyal client, which gets me to the second piece. We have, numbers are just being recalculated, but well over 30% of our clients make a second purchase, and I'm talking $1,100 to $1,200 average order value within the first year. And we have clients with $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 worth of our merchandise, who are purchasing it easily twice a year, because the process and the outcome are so joyous and empowering. It goes back to one of the things Kriti said. When we're told that we have to wear certain things because that's what some designer has told us to wear, that completely strips you of your power. To me, that was a main reason why we started the business, because you can't feel joy if you don't feel empowered. And so we make sure that the entire process, when they design the bag, we're helping them. If we see them struggling, we connect them immediately with a stylist who can help guide them through the experience. The moment the order comes, we are sending you emails with images of your bag in process. So immediately you're connected to the piece. The raw materials are pulled, you get an image of that. The bag is in production with some hand element of the production process, you get a photo of that. And at the end, when your personal brand is stamped into the bag, your personal patch, you get a photo of that. And then we just maintain a dialogue with them. For me, I wanted to redefine what the conversation is between clients and luxury brands. And for so long, the luxury brand conversation has been about status and about ostentatious and kind of off-putting. It's just like the Met Ball that went up the other day. It was interesting and fun. I look at these people and who are you? That you need that. I mean, I just find that, I don't know, if I'm ever invited, I'll take a whole different approach. And I want our customers to feel that we say we're giving them a peek under the tent. We're not sort of the closing the door and sort of doing this kind of secret thing that only so many people can have access to. And so it's a combination of those elements, being empowering, delivering joy, giving everything that creativity and customization gives you as a person, psychically, emotionally, as well as ultimately physically in your hands, and making you a part of the process and having an ongoing dialogue. We're not perfect at it by any means, but we work at it every day. We're constantly trying to improve that. We're building a whole new stylist team as we speak. And I'm getting much more in front of that as the visionary of the brand, making sure folks understand what was in my heart as well as in my head when we started the business. And people feel that, to your point, fans versus really extraordinary loyalists. We get the most effusive letters when people receive their pieces, because they created this. The biggest compliment I can get, and I get this all the time, is when someone comes to me and said that they were stopped in the street and someone asked him, who designed your bag? Oh, it gives me chills saying it. And they get to say, I did. I mean, isn't that extraordinary that a person can say that? I mean, it's like my 7-year-old saying that she just built her, popsicle stick straw scarecrow this weekend. It's the same sense of joy and confidence.
Superb, superb. Great learning there, Stephanie. Those are some great compliments and great story. And yes, your point on communication is very, very pertinent. I mean, especially when taking, let's say, a couple of weeks to give a product to somebody, it's very important to the person informed about every step and is basically engaging with them and not just letting them wander what's happening on my product. So that's communication is the key. Even if you're getting delayed, if you're telling them about every milestone, what's happening.
Absolutely.
It's a very important thing that we have learned in this seminar.
And if something's gone wrong, which it does, we just cop up to it, and tell them, thank you for giving us a chance to learn and for giving us a chance to make it right. This shouldn't have happened. That we appreciate that you've given us, or would you please give us a chance to address it and correct the issue? And I can't live with this sense that there's all these things out there that I haven't been accountable for. So if something goes off the rails, then we just address it and learn from it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Stephanie. I think that's so important, and brands do forget about that owning up and being accountable, the way you're saying, that is so important. So we also ensure that like our team is aware, our customer facing team is aware that they're accountable. If there's a mistake that we've made, you need to own up for it, because even in fashion, right, you cannot be perfect. There might be a defective piece that might have gone out. An employee might have made a mistake, not checking it. And the way you were saying that not to penalize them, but it's important for them to understand why they're doing what they're doing, and really ensuring that the customer has a happy experience, and how their actions result in the customer maybe not having such an happy experience, but learning from those mistakes. That's
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
absolutely. Absolutely, Kriti. So what platform do you use for e-commerce?
So currently we're using Shopify for
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're using.
Tell us your 2 or 3 most favorite apps that you use for Shopify and why.
Our 2 or 3 most favorite apps that we're currently using in Shopify. One would be related to like collections and how we can reorder them in a very in a manner, the way, like, I mean, our customers actually go ahead and maybe like a particular product, so really reordering those reordering the collection, that is very important. And one of the apps that we're using is related to our pages and redesigning them. So these are the 2 apps that we're using really improve like the customer front end.
Okay. So what about, let's say, are you doing some apps on ROAS as well? How do you on targeting your customer well? Any targeting targeting apps, retargeting apps, ROAS apps?
So for that, actually, we have like a separate, like we don't use any particular apps on Shopify primarily, but we use Shopify's analytics, of course, that are provided to us. So that is something that we're utilizing, which is already there.
Okay. So you speak. So how big is the team at Mom's Joy, Kriti?
We have 25 employees currently. Yes.
So do you also have technical people in your in-house team?
Yes, we have technical people in our in-house team. We have, there are some people who are associated with, they manage the marketing, and the rest of them, of course, like our manufacturing unit, operations, and customer care. Yeah.
So manufacturing unit is where in India?
It's in New Delhi.
In Delhi. So do you also plan to outsource? My question here is, company of your size, 25 people and technical staff as well, company of your size, should they be thinking of contract manufacturing as well?
Like I said, as I mentioned earlier, like our vision has been very clear, where we don't want any in contract manufacturing. What it results in is you have to give that particular, the
Design.
manufacturer like a bulk order, and that, like I mentioned earlier, our vision has been very clear since the beginning, that we are able to actually we have our processes are such that we're able to handle those bulk orders within our organization itself. And also another thing that goes with contract manufacturing is you're not able to take care of the quality that is being provided. So yeah, so that's what is currently our vision.
So why did you choose Shopify over other platforms like Magento or BigCommerce or WooCommerce and others?
It was easy for us to really start with Shopify initially in 2015. It was the first platform, I'll be very honest. It was like the platform that was simple. It was simple for us to really make the website by ourselves. We didn't have to contact anybody specifically. I'm a computer science engineer. I was able to do everything myself initially. And our idea is to use minimum resources and get maximum value from it. And that is our thought process when we started. And that is how then we've been able to use Shopify to our advantage. And that is why till date we are continuing to use that platform itself.
Wonderful, wonderful. Shopify is clear winner for Kriti. Stephanie, what's your take on platforms?
We actually are fully proprietary. So we actually are not working on any platform at the moment. Everything is, I mean, we have our hosting service and other apps that support our build, but our build is totally customized.
Okay. So what about your distribution of sales offline versus online?
What about our what?
Distribution of sales. What percentage of your sales come through a website and what through
the... I mean, most of it today is online. One of the byproducts of the pandemic, we had so you had asked a question to Kriti, which is relevant here. One of the byproducts of the pandemic is that we pulled out of our retail partnerships, but they were not conventional retail partners. It was with Nordstrom, where you sell merchandise in. We have only lease concessions so that we have, again, the direct relationships with the client. So we consider everything we do direct to consumer, not only online, but whether it's with the stylist or whether it's in a retail environment. So we were simply paying a % of sales as a lease agreement. And it was a fantastic experience. You come into Nordstrom and we designed the bag on a big touchscreen TV with our stylists. We were fully in control of the merchandise and the experience. But during the pandemic, for multiple reasons, they have changed their business strategy and just wasn't going to work for us, including removing exotics from their stores. And exotics provide a significant portion of our sales in their stores as well as otherwise. So that was a significant piece of our business. So today we were only online. I'm happy to say that we only had about a 35% reduction in revenue last year, even in the absence of, we moved out of, well, Nordstrom first closed, and then when they opened, there was no business. And finally, we decided in November to pull out altogether because we invented a mask that's currently in the process for getting N95 certification. And so that actually created substantial revenue for us as a backfill. And our online channel kind of held its own. So today we are exclusively online with the support of our stylist team. And our stylist team ultimately is moving the order through our online channel as well. They still use the customizer in partnering with the client to design the bag through Zoom or one of other various tools that we work with. But ultimately the order goes through online, and that is really almost 100% of our business.
Wonderful.
At the moment. But we are exploring going how we want to go back into retail. I consider it more about transient retail. I've never been a big believer in selling and having these locked in relationships and selling in merchandise at a huge discount only for them to discount it further. So already we will be doing events at a lot of our clients' homes who want to support and promote us and refer us to their clients, to their friends and networks. We are also in the conversations with luxury specialty boutiques where we come in, say, quarterly, as opposed to having a presence. And then where possible and appropriate, we might do pop-ups or our own retail, but it is so expensive to drive traffic to your own brick and mortar that until you have the brand awareness that gives people, puts you top of mind, and we're not there yet to get people to think about you and their sort of subset of brands they're going to go look at when they're looking for a luxury good, for example. I've never really thought, I'd rather coattail on the work that someone else has done to build traffic. So whether it's partnering with an appropriate retailer, or we're going to be rolling out some collaborations here soon that help us introduce our product to that brand's client. We have 2 of these collaborations, and similarly introducing that brand to our client. We find that those tend to be much more productive, and similarly come with that implied referral or that implied endorsement, which is really important.
Interesting. Wonderful. So tell us about the biggest mistake you made during the last 18 months of pandemic.
I mean, it's something you're asking me this question, right? I think about this a lot, I mean, we kind of accidentally moved into masks because Cornell Weill Cornell Medicine, which is a major hospital system here in New York, somehow got connected and asked if we could design something that was equivalent to a N95. And I'm not sure who was crazier, them for asking or me for saying yes. But we did it in rocket time. And it was good enough that, we've been brought through the process with some partners to get the N95. And it'll be a nice asset. If New York State supported us with a grant because they were trying to support domestic procurement of PPE. We'll see how that plays out in terms of they're really not being tempted by the dramatically lower prices that China's still offering. And so now that we're at the very close finish line, but it's been just an arduous process, this N95. Some days I ask myself, we're going to go through it at this point, like we're there, so we're just doing it. What should I have spent my time doing instead? What should I have spent the team's time doing instead? And I'm not sure I've decided that it was in fact a mistake, but it's something that's on the back of my mind. At the time, it felt like it was absolutely the right thing to do. And one thing I've learned to believe is you have to make the best decision you can with the information you have at the moment. And even though it is so easy to look back and be self-critical, and I'm a master at that, I also have confidence that at any given juncture, I'm making the best decision I can with everything that I know at the moment. So when I'm looking back a year or 18 months ago, I have to have confidence that at that time, that felt like the right thing to do to keep some members of my team employed and to just keep the business moving forward. But, should I have been working on our investor deck already, even though I didn't think investors wanted to have the conversation at that point? Should we have already been building out our stylist team? Now it's easy to think through all those things. And I haven't come to a conclusion yet.
Wonderful. Interesting. So Kriti, we will be wrapping up in just one more round. So D2C brands in India, I mean, some are struggling, and D2C brands worldwide as well. Some are struggling, some are bootstrapping, some are using investment. A lot of these brands, D2C brands, D2C companies, have not been able to make a perfect exit, in the sense that their exit has not been great. The stories, especially in India, what is your take on that, and how do we make the exit smoother?
Okay. So you're talking specifically about brands in India?
D2C company in India, yes, like you said.
Okay. So can you give me an example of the exits not being smooth where they're in losses? Is that what you're trying to come to specifically?
Not losses per se, but let's say Raw Pressery. Now, Raw Pressery is a brand which sells these
Right, juices, correct.
Yeah, juices brand. Okay, now their exit has not been smooth. I mean, their valuation was much more few years back than now, when they were being acquired by some company, and the valuation came down drastically. When they're getting acquired, the valuation is far less when compared to what it was few years back. Same is the case with, let's say, maybe your Dr. Vaidya also. So, any take on that?
Right. So, actually, to be very honest, wouldn't be able to comment specifically about these particular brands. Yeah,
No problem.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm owning up to it that I really am not aware of Raw Pressery not having a smooth exit specifically. Was it during the pandemic specifically that they had the exit, which wasn't smooth.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll actually have to read through their business model and what actually happened.
Yeah, so let me just get back to Stephanie for this question then. Stephanie, you know what? So technology companies, when they get investment, it's fine because uh, with technology, you're able to grow and scale faster. But in D2C is primarily transactional. You are able to improve your numbers, and let's say even if you seek investment, grow your numbers, burn more cash, get more clients, burn more cash, get more clients, and profitability, sustainability takes a second seat, takes a back seat. Kriti has been focusing on being profitable and not needing so much of investment. But then there's also a concept of burn more cash and get more transactions and get more clients. What is your take on that? And how, in that case, how do you exit smoothly? So with Kriti, Stephanie, you got to unmic yourself.
Thank you for that. It's a scary drug, and that's one reason why I haven't taken on millions of dollars from people that were on my back, to only be, seduced in this notion that we keep spending money and then you need to keep spending money. So two things on that. One is that is like you, and I really give you great credit, Kriti, for being already profitable, because I can say that we're not currently. But it is a goal to really get the business to a place where, even very on a small basis, we have it working such that we can do this profitably. Secondly, that's why I'm really driven to find investors who really understand what we're trying to accomplish. Because if it's just for the bottom line right now and don't appreciate what it's taking to build a fully sustainable luxury brand, it's this conversation that goes nowhere. Thirdly, which isn't to say we won't be profitable, and I think we'll be immensely profitable because we have a very high average order value and a pretty modest, and I haven't calculated more recently because things are a little bit all over the place, but a very modest cost of acquisition and a very modest, or a very nice return on investment for the advertising when we were doing it. But that's the other reason why we plan to build out the software component of our business, because there's a really sustainable and scalable opportunity there based on something that no one else has done that we know other luxury brands would like. And lastly, I've gone through an IPO, so I think if we were to exit in some long time frame, it really should be a sale for somebody who values the brand, and values the technology, and hopefully even this technology we build for commercial purposes. I envision a conglomerate who might be able to syndicate that software across all of their brands. But running a public company is, it's exciting being there on the NASDAQ, but day two is, back to business, making sure you're delivering. And delivery is not a problem, but having all those external and not artificial, but external influences on what you're doing is really challenging.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Guys, thank you so much in this last round. If you have any question to the fellow speaker, you can shoot now. And if you want to share any closing remarks, please do that.
I mean, Kriti, I'll just say I watched a company in China do the same doing, and they did extraordinarily well. It's such an incredible nascent market, and this notion of empowering women during their maternal process, even the part before they're pregnant, but trying to become pregnant through the process, and then everything that happens afterwards, is such an important piece that's completely overlooked in culture across the world, and I could appreciate certainly in India. So congratulations on what you're doing.
Thank you. And I just want to tell you, Stephanie, I mean, I was hearing when you said that you feel the happiest when, and it gets you chills when your customer comes up and says the bag has been designed by them. I think it's such a brilliant idea. I think it's so innovative, and it's really wonderful what you're doing and the way you're running a business. It's really an inspiration. And there was a lot that I learned from you today. So thank you for that. And thank you for the lovely questions as well. That's how we both I especially got to learn a lot of things from Stephanie today.
And vice versa. It's a good learning session.
Yes.
Thank you, both of you, for being such a giver. And you guys did not shy away from giving what you have learned over the years in your business. These learnings can definitely be used by a lot of people in the e-commerce industry. And I would like to again thank you and let you go. Again, thank you so much, and take care of yourself.
Have a great day and
Thank you.
evening.
Thanks so much. Thanks. Bye.